I would like to say thank you to all of our attendees on behalf of the Metropolitan Business League and our Board of Directors and CEO Floyd Miller. I'd like to welcome you to the We Care RVA Rebuild Grant Application webinar. I am Melody Short, Marketing and Membership Coordinator with MBL, the Metropolitan Business League, in partnership with Venture Richmond, Chamber RVA, Virginia Community Capital, and Virginia LISC, with the support of Dominion Energy, Altria, Capital One, Robbins Foundation, and the Community Foundation is awarding emergency grants to organizations impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and/or social justice demonstrations. We are excited to have you join us today, and we are hopeful that the information provided is helpful as you prepare to apply for the grant portion of this project. As you know, the application will be available beginning Monday, September 21st through Monday, October 5th. We encourage you all to start applying early as soon as the application is released on Monday. Before we get started, I would like to ask that our community partners that are able to join us today introduce themselves. And if we can start with Lisa and end with Floyd, that'll be great.
Thanks, Mel. Hi, I'm Lisa Sims, and I'm with Venture Richmond. We're a downtown organization, and we're really thrilled to be part of this collaborative process, and we look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'll go next. I'm Jane Ferrara, Executive Director for LISC, Virginia. We are a comprehensive economic and community development organization and are delighted to be partnering with MBL on this initiative and all of the other groups, VCC and Venture, and certainly the Chamber on this tremendous program.
I'm Becca Richardson. Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
Thanks, Becca. My name is Kelly Mccall. I am the Vice President of Leadership, Community, and Resource Development for Chamber RVA. We are a regional membership organization for civic-minded business leaders trying to advance the region, and are just so thrilled to be part of this collaboration with everyone else.
I'll go now. I'm Becca Richardson. I'm with Virginia Community Capital. We are a community development financial institution in Richmond. And we are so excited to be participating in what feels like the most collaborative group of organizations that have come together organically to serve the needs of our local community. And this participation and just the way that this program has grown from just an idea state of this working group has been a pleasure. So thank you, MBL, for leading this project.
Thank you. And last but not least.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Floyd Miller, the President and CEO of the Metropolitan Business League. Thank you all for being with us today. And I'm excited for you all to learn more about the We Care project. So I guess I will go ahead and get started. Again, what an incredible collaboration. I'm so excited to work with these organizations. I think this is the first time that 5 organizations of this magnitude has come together to provide something for the community. And so let me tell you a little bit about the We Care project. It's a $1 million relief fund for small women and minority-owned businesses that have been impacted financially by COVID-19, as well as social demonstrations. And so this opportunity would not be possible without our sponsors. So I want to just thank each and every one of our sponsors for this opportunity: Dominion Energy, Altria, Capital One, the Robbins Foundation, the Community Foundation, Historic Richmond, and Clean Care. We will be able to award grants ranging from $2,500 to $10,000 to over 100 Richmond businesses. In addition, we will be able to provide technical assistance, training in diversity and inclusion, as well as additional resources throughout the process to help businesses recover and reopen. And also, I'm excited to say that any recipient will also receive a free membership with the Metropolitan Business League. Again, this collaboration is a community-led effort which will provide support to businesses in the Richmond region. Businesses will be able to use grants for renovations, graffiti removal, employee wages, working capital, equipment, inventory, rent, other critical operating expenses. So as Melody mentioned, the application process will open on September the 21st, and you can visit our website for additional information at www.thembl.org. So Mel, I'll turn it over to you to kind of go through the eligibility requirements at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Floyd. And, I can't say it enough, just kind of re-emphasizing that this is an emergency grant that we are awarding organizations, again, impacted by COVID-19 pandemic or social justice demonstrations. Your business is eligible if it was impacted by both or either. So if your business is awarded an emergency grant, your organization's ACH information will be requested at the time of the award. Additionally, you may apply for a technical assistance grant, which provides an allowance to be used for a wide variety of business services. You'll learn more about the technical assistance later in this session from one of our community partners, Jane, over at LISC. To be eligible for this program, your organization must be a small women and or minority owned organization. And so nonprofit organizations are able to apply for this funding. You must be based in Richmond region. And so we are considering Richmond City, Henrico County, Chesterfield County, and Hanover County a part of the Richmond region. You must have been in operation for 2 or more years. I'm going to slide this down as well. Employ 2 to 100 people. You as the owner will be included, full-time and part-time employees, but we're also saying 1099 contractors as well as sole proprietors with 1099 contractors. That is huge. There have been tons of opportunities available at various levels, local and state and federal. And so, we're really trying to make this process easier on you guys as business owners. And we know that oftentimes 1099 contractors is who you typically have on your team. And so we want you to know that we welcome your application if this is your case. You must have suffered a negative economic impact from COVID-19 and/or social justice demonstrations. And you must have at least $50,000, but no more than $2 million in annual gross revenues. The last requirement is that you are a brick and mortar location. But we want to be clear on this piece. This is only if you are applying due to impact from social justice demonstration. So if you will have to demonstrate how your facility has been physically impacted. If you're applying for COVID-19 relief, you do not have to have a brick and mortar location. We know that you all have been working tirelessly to maintain your business during this time. So we have been incredibly intentional to ensure we are not taxing you with this process, but rather ensuring we are getting the funds to those that need it most. And so I think what's fitting next is for you guys to have the opportunity to learn more about the application. And Becca is on the line to assist with that.
Hi everyone, I'm now going to share my screen, which is not my specialty, so just bear with me for a moment. You cannot, Mel, would you mind unsharing your screen and then I'll be allowed to share mine? There we go, thank you. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm with Virginia Community Capital, and we're going to be doing the behind the scenes administration work on behalf of Metropolitan Business League. So you'll see our name on things, but we're here to support MBL. Now, as Floyd and Mel showed you, there is a landing page on the Metropolitan Business League website where you will begin. And once we post the link, which will be up prior to the application going live on Monday, you'll be able to click on a link to start applying for your business. And the link will bring you to this page. It looks a little funny because this is a beta version right now. And what you'll do is you'll create a login. So you'll go to create a new account. And just so you know, when that happens, it's going to ask you for your name, your email address, and that should be it. And you'll be able to, you'll get a link where you verify your email address and then you log in. So I'm just going to skip that since I've already registered. But when you log in, you'll have your own dashboard. And I want to clarify that once you create an account and start an application, you have the opportunity to log in and out of your application and save your work. You do not have to fill it in all at once. So there's a 2-week window for the applicants to apply. It might take you a minute to find a certain document or get certain information. That's okay. You can have your application started and fill in things as they become available to you. So you have your dashboard, and let's just go to the application. It's essentially all one page with several sections, and I just want to go over the sections very quickly with you. Bear with me, thank you. Okay, so you're going to have your primary contact information, in which you enter who you are. Now, we're requiring business owners, executive directors, or board member, if you're a nonprofit, to be the primary contact. And you'll give your phone number and certify that you are authorized to apply on behalf of the organization. For organization information, this section's a little bit longer. You give your name, your type of business, nonprofit or for-profit. And I want to clarify that locally owned franchise businesses are also welcome to apply, because those are small businesses too. You'll see my my responses here for my fantasy bakery that I'll own someday. But you'll enter a description of your business. We also want to know, and this question is not required, but what makes your organization special? How do you stand out in your community? Where do you fit in your community? How do you serve the community? We ask for your employer identification number, and we do understand that some businesses, even if they're LLCs, don't have an EIN, but instead have a social security number. If that's the case, you enter your social security number. Just make sure that whatever number you enter is the same number that represents your business on your tax return or your Form 990 if you're a nonprofit. You enter other, basic information. We ask you how old your organization is, the incorporation date. And here we ask for a copy of your business license. We understand that of the localities that we listed, Hanover County does not require a business license. So if for any reason you're either in Hanover or in a certain group in one of the other localities that doesn't require a business license, we ask that you go to the State Corporation Commission website and download a summary of good standing, essentially, for your business, so that we have something to check to make sure that your business is currently operating and in good standing. And I'm using the word business. I mean to say organization, so please forgive me if I mix that up. We ask you for a signed Form W-9. If you don't have a copy readily available, here's a link where you can download one and fill it out. Make sure it's signed. We ask for your gross annual revenue. And we want you to upload your 2019 federal tax return or IRS Form 990 if you're a nonprofit. If you don't have that available because you have not filed it yet, you can upload internal financial statements instead. As Melody mentioned, and I'll just clarify here, number of employees. We want to be as inclusive as possible here. So the eligibility is organizations with 2 to 100 employees. But again, the employee count includes the owner, part-time employees, full-time employees, and contracted employees. So if you're a small organization, like many are, who has a sole proprietor with just a couple of contractors, that's okay. I don't want to take up too much time in one section, so I'm just gonna move over to the next ones. As Mel mentioned, you can apply and be eligible based on one or both experiences. Either your organization has had a COVID-19 pandemic impact, and or your organization has experienced a financial impact based on social justice demonstrations that cause damage and likely business continuity disruptions. So we're going to ask you questions about those. If one doesn't apply to you, you click no and you move on to the next section. For the social justice demonstration eligibility, you're going to be asked to upload a few more documents than if it's just a COVID application. We're going to want to see a lease or a mortgage statement. We're going to want to, here, I'll show you here, proof of ownership or lease. So that's what I just mentioned. We're going to ask you what kind of impact you've had. You can click as many as you'd like, or if we haven't listed one that is relevant to your business, you can type in something else. You have the opportunity to upload photos if you have them, not required, but helpful. We ask you if you have an insurance deductible, and then also to provide provide a larger description of the total amount of damage. And then we're going to ask you how you would use the proceeds if you were awarded a grant. So we hope that this application does not cause you tremendous. And we know that the PPP program was difficult to apply for. We hope that this application is as clear as possible. There are stars, little asterisks next to the items that are required. Other items that are not required will not have that. You can move past them if they're not relevant to your application. And this is a good opportunity for me to, at the end of the application, point out, so we have the emergency grant request. Before I go to the end, you're going to indicate which level of emergency grant funding you're applying for. So there's 2,500, there's 5,000, and then there's 10,000. And that's based on the impact to your organization of COVID and or social justice demonstrations. So that's the emergency grant request, and that's what these next three sections are for, or two sections. And then finally, we get to the technical assistance grant program, and it's called a grant program, but it is an allowance. And Jane's going to get into the specifics of it. But in the application is where you indicate if you would like to be considered or would like such an allowance. And you can have the opportunity to indicate the types of services that would be most helpful to your business. So given that, I will hand the mic over to Jane.
Thank you, Becca. So we are very excited to present to you an aspect of the program. Can you see my screen? Okay. An aspect of the program that we think is unique and much needed by small businesses. We understand the sort of the urgent need for cash. Cash to take care of and offset those unanticipated, unbudgeted expenses that many of you all have incurred over this last year for a number of reasons, whether it be COVID or the social justice demonstrations. But we also feel like this program is intended to provide some longer term support to businesses in terms of the technical assistance aspect. And we felt strongly that providing you the grant was important, but providing you that added support over the next year was equally important, and in some cases even more important for sustainability. So we incorporated a technical assistance aspect to this program. Just want to let you know that all applicants that participate in this program, whether you receive a grant award or not, are eligible to receive technical assistance through this program. And what I mean by that is let me just say, first of all, grant awardees will receive first priority. However, this is an allowance-based opportunity, and you will indicate in your application the kind of technical assistance you need. Now, MBL has a network of service providers that provide a variety of services to small businesses. So we will provide a list of preferred vendors that you can choose from through the MBL network. However, you will not be required to use those vendors, but we would certainly like to encourage supporting the members of MBL to assist you with the types of services you might need. These are some examples of technical assistance that you may need, or you may need other resources that we haven't listed here, but we just wanted to sort of give you some idea. You know, some of you may either need a business plan or need to update your business plan or strategic plan. There may be a need for some financial audit or other financial services such as tax preparation, business license renewal fees or assistance, sometimes navigating local government in terms of receiving or obtaining your business license can be a challenge. So we want to provide some resource to help you in that area. There may be a need for some moderate legal counsel, payroll services, IT assistance. Many businesses are now thinking critically about how to incorporate an IT strategy into the way they either deliver their own services or make their products available. Web-based marketing, sales and marketing, a financial statement and cash flow management, or even QuickBooks as a tool to help you manage the finances of your business. So again, this is not all inclusive, but we thought it would give you some ideas of the types of resources that we'd like to make available to those that are participating in this program. And this is unique. Let me just say there are a lot of grant programs out there, but I don't think there are many that are offering the level of aftercare and wraparound sort of resource over a year's period that this program offers. And we all believed strongly that this was a vital service and need of small businesses. Some other resources that are going to be made available throughout the years is there will be a number of webinars and learning opportunities through MBL, maybe through LISC or some other organizations that, you know, once we have your email address, you'll be on a distribution list to receive information about these resources. The Chamber is doing all kinds of learning opportunities and other organizations throughout the region. So we'll keep you posted of what's out there and what's available during the year. As Floyd mentioned, each grant award recipient will receive one free membership to MBL. And I don't know if all of you have been to their website, but if you haven't, I would highly encourage you to go to their website. They have a whole list of resources that are available to small businesses and networking opportunities. It's a great, great organization. And then other resources throughout the year as we develop them, we will again make those resources available, make you aware of them. There's some other online resources that we'll post on the website. There's Hello Alice, Micro Mentor, and Start Small, Think Big. These are all online small business assistance programs that are free and available to small businesses, and we will make sure that you have access to links to these resources. A little bit about our program guidelines, which are still a work in progress. We're refining things a bit, but again, grant recipients will receive first priority in receiving the business assistance allowance as funding permits. MBL will vet members of their organization to identify technical assistance vendors and service providers that you can tap into and work with. We are asking those service providers to offer discount rates for services provided. You as the business will indicate your desired technical assistance. Now, let me just say, whatever you respond to in your application doesn't necessarily lock you in. If you go through the application process and later determine that there's some other service that would be of more benefit to you, that's okay. We will work with you in that regard. As mentioned, it's not required that you use MBL members, but we certainly would encourage that. This is, the program also is an opportunity to encourage networking and creating business opportunities among everybody that participates. If a business elects to utilize a service provider not on the list that MBL provides, that business would provide us with the name of the business that you would like to use, the technical assistance or service that is needed, and an estimated cost of that service. So we can evaluate that when determining the allowance. There will be, as I mentioned, group assistance programs will be made with available to all participating business. This program, by the way, is being replicated down in Hampton Roads. So there could be webinars or other trainings or learning opportunities where both Hampton Roads and Richmond Market businesses will be allowed to participate. Right now, we are establishing a $1,500 allowance per business. Again, this is all subject to funding and the demand that we receive, but this is what we're striving for at this point. And then each grant recipient will receive 1 year membership to MBL and all of its member benefits. So that pretty much provides an overview of the technical assistance aspect of this program. We expect that there will be other webinars or opportunity for us to share more information about this aspect of the program to you at a later date. But we wanted to at least give you a preview of what's to come over the next year. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Melody.
Thank you so much, Jane, sharing with us and our attendees today. I think I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kelly, and she will share with everyone efforts as it relates to diversity and inclusion, the initiative that the Chamber is heading up.
Great. Thank you, Melody. I appreciate the opportunity to be involved, and just dovetailing on what Jane has shared about technical assistance. We've got a really exciting education initiative that we're working on in partnership with the Metropolitan Business League and a lot of other regional partners. And it's very strongly aligned to the We Care RVA Rebuild project. And so just wanted to share this opportunity with you, and we'll be sure to send a follow-up email to give you more of the details when it launches. I'm going to share my screen. And can everyone see? Can everyone see my screen? Yes? All right, perfect. So we're calling this a Shared Community Values Summit, and it is inspired by the Chamber's Inner City Visit, which is a trip that we do every year where we take a really diverse cross-section of business and community leaders to another city or community across the nation to explore best practices and resources and ideas and innovations to bring back to our community. And while we can't do that trip this year, unfortunately, we've been thinking about the concept of an intra-city visit. This is a good time for our community to be introspective and learn more about Richmond's community issues. And so we took that as a springboard for this summit opportunity. And so our goal is really to lead, leverage, and educate the business community on the value of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're planning to cover all of the traditional topics that we cover on an inner city visit, but through the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I imagine issues like education, housing, transportation, et cetera, are going to be part of these conversations that we're hosting, and entrepreneurship as it relates to this particular audience. But those will surface in a different way as we talk about 4 different topics, which I'll present on the next slide. Our objective is to align the community around this core set of values so we can really lift up diversity, equity, and inclusion as a core value to make Richmond a better place for everyone who calls our region home, and to foster some new understanding of racial equity issues, foster community commitment to core values, introduce some new initiatives that we're working on with other regional partners, and maybe have this serve as a springboard for some sort of larger planning or reimagining effort. So we're excited about all that it entails. And these are the 4 topics that we're going to cover in the program series. We're going to launch at the end of October. I think October 28th is our first date, and we're going to roll on a weekly cadence every Thursday. The first one is going to be out reframing history in Southeast cities, and we've got Bill Martin and Christy Coleman teed up to weave together local and national narratives around Richmond's history. And hot off the press, we've also talked to Hamilton Glass, who's going to talk about the Mending Walls exhibit in Richmond and how we drive our community forward and how we acknowledge our culture and history in new ways. The next session is going to be on catalytic philanthropy. We're working really closely with Robert Dortch at the Robbins Foundation, and he's helped us recruit Albert Walker at Richmond Memorial Health, Jill Coleman at the Cameron Foundation, and Stephanie Glenn at the Community Foundation, who's leading the Giving Black initiative, to talk about how our community approaches philanthropy and how we can make the biggest difference leveraging some of our funding relationships. And we are very, very close to hopefully locking in Darren Walker, who's the CEO of the Ford Foundation, to talk about how his organization focuses on racial equity and social justice issues. So we're thrilled about that. We're going to do a segment on minority business development, and this is where Floyd and I have worked mostly together, and Melody as a participant in this session. We've got an awesome lineup of minority business owners who are going to talk about challenges and opportunities in this space, including access to capital and how we can as a community help solve and address some of these issues. So I think that one's going to be particularly interesting to this audience. And then we've got Kuma Roberts and Mike Neal from the Tulsa Regional Chamber. It is the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre, and they are going to talk about the revitalization of the Greenwood Black Business District and how their community has responded to some of the things that have happened in Tulsa and what we can learn from them. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with economic mobility and inclusive growth. We're working with Melody Barnes on the local perspective, and then Tom Barkin and Raphael Bostic, who is the president of the Atlanta Fed. He's also the first African-American openly gay Fed president and has come out in a big way around the Fed's tools as it relates to, removing barriers to opportunity. And Raphael Bostic is confirmed now, so we're just thrilled to have him on board. He's going to be an exceptional speaker. And then finally, if we are successful, we'd like to reconvene the group that participates in this community learning opportunity around January and assess our community's readiness for some sort of pledge or commitment to these issues long-term. So that this is not a moment in time, but something that's sustainable and a core value of our community, and something that an event that brings people together to drive our community forward. So we're excited for that opportunity, hopefully in January after the start of the new year, so that we can revisit all that we've learned after we've had a chance to reflect over the holidays and come back together and think about how we want to move forward. So when these are marketed, and we're expecting to send the information out in the next couple of weeks, we will make sure that this group of participants receives an invitation, and hopefully you have an opportunity to attend, and happy to take any questions during the question and answer period. I think next I'll pitch to Lisa to moderate any Q&A.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, we have a lot of questions, so I'm going to just speak to all the panelists. And Jane, I think this might be for you. Would a transition to a new CRM be considered under technical assistance?
I would say yes. We can either identify a service provider through MBL, or if the business has their own service provider, but they would receive up to the allowance to to achieve that objective.
Okay. Next question. If you've not filed your taxes, exactly what type of documents are acceptable? Not sure who,
I
maybe.
can jump in on that unless Floyd wants to. Typically, we look for an internal income statement and a balance sheet.
Okay.
Floyd, do you want to add anything to that? Okay.
No, I think those two things would substitute for that.
And I just want to say thank you in advance. All of these clarifications are helpful. We can add this information on our application so that future folks who look at it will have the question answered.
Okay, this is from Mark. I think I know the answer to this, but just to make it clear for everyone, we have a Henrico address, but our office is physically located just over the line in Goochland County. We serve the city of Richmond and Henrico County primarily. Are we eligible? Art for the Journey is a nonprofit.
You have a Henrico County address. That's what you said, Lisa, right?
Now it says, yes, a Henrico County address, but our office is physically located just over the line in Goochland. But if there, I would assume if there's a Henrico address, then you are eligible.
Yes, if you have a Henrico County address, you would be eligible.
From Sarah, the question pertaining to how your business is special, are you looking for more information about the business itself or how the business interacts with the community, or both?
I would say either or both, whatever you find relevant.
Okay. We have a brick and mortar in Chesterfield and Powhatan counties. Can both be included in the one business application?
No, so the Chesterfield location can be included.
Okay. We have a food truck, not a brick and mortar. Does that exclude us? We did not hit the 50,000 in revenue for 2019. Does that exclude us?
So you have a food truck. It does not exclude you. You wouldn't apply under the social justice portion of the grant, but you would apply for COVID-19 relief.
Okay.
And the other, there was another question around.
They did not hit the $50,000 revenue for 2019. Does that exclude them? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just to be consistent, you know, we would like to stay within the guidelines indicated in terms of revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, yes, if the revenue does not fit within the guidelines, yes.
We have a couple of questioners on this topic. It says on the Virginia SCC website, it states a certificate of good standing is only issued for a corporation. For a limited liability company, select certificate of fact of existence registration. For other business types, select certificate of fact. So in regard to this application, will uploading a certificate of fact suffice?
Yes, that'll definitely suffice.
Yeah.
Okay. Food truck. Oh, I think that maybe that was already answered. The food truck and less than $50,000. For business owners who own multiple businesses, are we only permitted to apply on behalf of one of our businesses?
I can answer that one. Related and affiliated entities are eligible to apply for multiple organizations. However, a separate application is required for each one. We're going to want to see a unique EIN for each business. Same with all of the other documents, unless there are certain shared documents. And we also want you to indicate, there's a spot in the application that if you are applying for multiple organizations that are related, that you list the related organizations in each of the applications so that we can know when we have the committee review that there are related entities.
This is a question. I'm going to hop over to chat for a minute because this one hasn't been answered. If an applicant applies for $5,000 or $10,000, could they be approved for a smaller amount? For example, apply for $10,000 and receive $2,500. I think they're wondering if they apply for a certain amount, will that exclude them, or will they get can they get a lesser amount?
We have it set up so you can apply for any amount and you will be reviewed for that amount. If you're not approved for that amount, your application will then be moved into the lower groups, the review process for the lower amount. So if the committee determines they can't fund your entire amount, you don't become ineligible or declined. You will be considered for the lower amounts, yes.
Can a 1099 be used in place if you have not filed your 2019 taxes?
Floyd says
Yes,
yeah.
I think we will accept that.
Okay. What
Especially-
tri-cities are eligible?
What tri-cities? So Chesterfield, you said what tri-cities?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Not sure.
yeah, so Richmond region, it's all about Richmond region.
Mhm.
And so when we say Richmond region, we are focusing specifically on Henrico, Chesterfield, Hanover. Am I leaving out anyone?
The city.
The city,
Yeah.
the city.
Okay, thanks. Do we need to have a minimum of 50,000 in our account at this moment, or is this revenue for the year?
It's revenue for the year. So have at least 50,000, but no more than 2 million in annual gross revenues. And so we would be able to see that through the financial statements that you provide.
Are you eligible if you receive the economic loan, not the PPP?
You are eligible. You will not be penalized for receiving that funding. We know that businesses oftentimes have needed more than that funding. You are absolutely eligible. And so I know that is something that, has been a differentiator for us. I ask that everyone that's on the call, please, please, please spread the good word to to the small business community that this grant is eligible, even if you have received that federal funding.
Under what category do we apply for medical transportation?
Well, that depends on how your business was impacted. So, do you have a facility? Do you have a brick and mortar that was impacted during the social justice demonstrations? Or if not, or was your business impacted by COVID-19? So it really isn't about industry. It's really about how you've been affected by all that's happening.
Great. Keisha says, so this is not for small business nonprofits that are just starting out, correct?
This is for businesses that have been in operation for 2 years or more.
Where can we find more information on the technical support offered?
Continue to, you got that, Jane? Or I don't know. Okay. So everything will be housed on the NBL's website. So all information as it relates to community partner offerings. So you would want to make sure you're visiting our website frequently, www.nbl.org. I'll actually put that in the chat so that everyone can have access to it.
When will funding decisions be made and funds sent to organizations?
Applicants will be notified. Pulling the date now, and Joe Floyd, you might want to hop in and help me. It's October.
October 6th through the.
No. Not that date. That's review period. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. I have it. Lisa, you can keep going. Let's loop back to that one. I just want to make sure I have the date in my head, but I don't want to say the wrong date. I just want to be sure.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Thanks, Mel. If you apply for other LISC grants, Jane, will applying for this disqualify you for any of those grants since LISC is a partner?
No.
Great. Okay. That's all the questions we have in the Q&A box.
I think some more popped up in the chat. Lisa, if you want to eyeball that.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay.
This person is saying they have one last question. Someone has asked, they haven't reached the $50,000 mark yet. We're at 10,000. Can I still apply for COVID or just the allowance?
Just unfortunately not for the grant because of the requirement of 50,000 minimum.
Will a DSS childcare license count as a business license?
Yes, any type of license that's applicable to your organization will suffice. And Mel, I have the dates in front of me if you'd like me to share those, or do you have them?
Be great, thank you.
Yeah, so our current timeline is that, as Mel mentioned previously, the application portal will be open from September 21st through October 5th. The select VCC will review it. A selection committee will review after VCC reviews. And then on October 15th, an email will go out to the applicants informing them of the decision of the awards. And then the following date is when we aim to disperse grant awards via ACH. So that's October 16th is the ACH date. October 15th is the communication date.
Thank you.
One last question due to COVID-19. Let's see, does the $50,000 in 2019, will 50,000 on the 1099 apply, even if you may have had expenses that may have reduced that amount?
What we have to see is a minimum of 50K in gross revenue. That's the marker. So, you know, however.
Number is before any expenses, so it's top line revenue.
Yes, gross.
If you earn the money,
gross.
then that
Yeah,
counts.
well, they got it. Okay.
Okay, she said, gotcha. So okay, we answered that. Are 1099 contractors considered employees?
Absolutely. We are. Now, I don't know who's on this call, and I know, you know, legality, like you can't say technically employees, but what we're saying is that you can count your 1099 contractors. I want to say it that way. You can absolutely count your 1099 contractors.
Being that we have not reached 50,000, can we apply for the IT allowance? And are there any funding opportunities for smaller businesses?
You can apply for that portion, and we are aggressively looking for opportunities to support our members and any business owner that is in need of resources at this time. So I can only say that we are aggressively looking at other opportunities, and I'm pretty sure that those opportunities will come to fruition before the end of the year.
Okay.
I want to just add to what Floyd just shared. And when he said we are aggressively, I mean, NBL, we had grant opportunities available just a few months ago, right? And so they were smaller grants. And so even during that time, you know, we were really clear that we're going to continue working diligently on behalf of the small business community. And so the result of that is what we have here. And so we will continue to do that work and uncover, you know, additional resources as you all share with us what is needed. So I just wanted to say that because we did have a offering a few months ago, and this is a larger offering. So it's really, you know, proof that we are continuing this work.
Are there other questions? Someone thanks everyone for the time and helping small businesses. It's very appreciated. But any other questions? Okay.
Looks like, I think
This is all great information to include in our next iteration of our FAQ document. And we'll make sure to get the word out to folks who were not able to attend the webinar. And Mel, there was a question earlier about will this webinar be available for future viewing?
Absolutely. So we are recorded, and I apologize. I should have announced that, but I think because the panelists were the only ones being viewed, it should be fine. But yes, this has been recorded, and everything will be housed on the MBL's website. I said I was going to put it in the chat, and I did not, so I'm going to do that now. So we'll have that uploaded, and well, actually, there's a group of individuals that have actually reached out, expressing interest in more information. I believe probably most of you all on this call, we can send it out via email as well. So we can send it out to you as a registered participant for today, and then we'll house it on our website.
Melody, I have one more question that came in. Can you apply for IT assistance and financial assistance?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm putting the link directly to the MBL, the page for Rebuild. We Care RVA Rebuild. It will be updated, obviously with the application and just any additional resources as they come through the pipeline. So again, I encourage you all to check the site often. If you are not following the Metropolitan Business League on social media, we ask that you do that, because we also share information more quickly through our social media channels, in addition to our email blast. But if you're not following us on social media, we encourage you to do so. You can follow us on Facebook at Metropolitan Business League. I'm double checking that. Okay, yeah, so on Facebook, you can follow us at Metropolitan Business League, and on Instagram, we are MBL, at MBL. MBL RVA. Yep, so again, Instagram, MBL RVA, and on Facebook, Metropolitan Business League. There is another question.
Go ahead, Mel.
Will the application be available for view prior to launch? Becca, what did we decide? I think it's just Monday, right? Did we decide?
Monday.
Monday, yeah.
And we can talk internally and see if there's something additionally we can provide online, maybe a list of the questions.
Yeah, so let's say Monday it will be available, and we are happy to email everyone that's registered that took time to join us today. We can email it directly to you so that you can have it right in your inbox when you wake up on Monday. I think that may be it. Kelly, Becca, or Jane, or Floyd, did you?
Oh, somebody asked what time on Monday it will launch. It actually, just based on the way that the system works, it launches at 12 a.m. on Monday morning. So if you want to get up in the middle of the night, you can. However, it's not a competitive process. The local committee, local stakeholders in the community who make up the review committee will look at all the applications that are eligible. They'll look at them cumulatively or in aggregate.
Okay. If anyone else doesn't have any that you want to share, I just want to say thank you again for carving time out of your schedule to be with us this morning to learn more details about this incredible opportunity. We're hopeful that you see that we are totally committed to getting resources to you by way of grant funding, but also technical assistance, because that is also very important. If you have any questions after this session, again, you can find all of our contact information on the mbl.org's website. Again, I think most of you have received an email. I'm available at mshort@mbl.org for any additional questions. We thank you for your time, and we look forward to receiving your applications as early as Monday.